Morning insiders, welcome back. Today I want to talk about halts, breakouts, and record trading profits and what it takes to get those, because I had some pretty solid trades today. I made tons of mistakes, but I want to talk about one little tweak, one tiny tweak that could allow me to walk away today with a record day. And I also want to show you guys the second screen to show you how crazy it is out here right now. I am going ahead and call it because I feel like it's so easy to give back profits right now. HOLO is having a huge breakout, and SMX just had that big breakout and sold off and flush. So I want to talk about HOLO first. I did trade a little bit on GLT. I'll show you a trade I made here. The market open today was really tricky, but I'll tell you what, the opportunities were there, and you just got to get aggressive, and eventually you're going to land that really nice trade. So HOLO was really the main ticker today that you wanted to be focused on. Had a really nice low float of roughly at 4 million, but it did have a pending effect warrant, so I was a little bit cautious about that. I think that's probably why it was a little bit choppy. Let's go ahead and check out the live trades I made on HOLO. So this is right at the open right here, and I'm looking for that morning panic and pop higher. So here we have that morning panic. I enter a little bit lower share size than I wanted. I actually wanted around 1300, but I just came back from another ticker. Quick pop higher, so this was a really good trade. But when this didn't break out, I was actually a little bit skeptical. So I had another really nice entry here, popped higher, and this should have ripped. I was waiting for this to rip higher, but it didn't. And this actually made me kind of nervous on the ticker. So I scratch out here for break even. Again, I'm looking for that morning panic. Oftentimes when tickers open up, especially when they're extended, this ticker's up 140% on the day. You look for a little bit of a sell-off, finding support, and then a rip higher. So this ticker tried to do that, but it stalled out. And that made it a little bit less appealing for me. I actually do the same exact morning panic trade. Again, extended ticker here on the 5 minute. This ticker is up around 80% on the day. You can see right here. I'm looking for that morning panic and then a break higher. But again, we're getting the same situation where it gets stuck and it's not breaking higher. So I actually ended up taking a loser on this one. Now let's switch back to HOLO, where this ticker actually ended up doing it. It had that pullback and then the breakout. So I know Corey, I think, got this one. So big congrats to you in the Discord. That was beautiful. I wanted the exact same trade. I switched to SMX thinking maybe there's better opportunity. The multiple attempts not breaking higher did put me a little bit on edge, but this was a perfect morning panic and then breakout, often called a red to green move, where it goes on the daily candle, it goes red and then it breaks out higher, pushing it green. That's why it's called a red to green or morning panic. Stuff I really like to see. But then it flushes back down. It gets kind of nasty. I do a little bit of a dip trade here, but look at that sell pressure where I found support here. I thought it was pretty good, but that sell pressure was just so strong on this ticker, so I didn't really feel comfortable holding it. So I close out this trade thinking, well, okay, well, that was a classic backside. I need to be careful here because it's so easy to give back profits. And at this point, I actually see GLT popping up and trying to break VWAP. So let me go over to that and talk about it, just because it's a bit more chronological, and I think that will be good. So GLT right here at VWAP, also a bit of a red to green morning panic setup. So this is what we really like to see. And I missed my entry here with that quick 1 minute pullback and a breakout. Actually, it does end up filling me. I get a decent size on it and I make a little bit of profit here. Although I was looking for that continuation and it never really happened. So I was thinking to myself, man, a lot of these tickers are opening up, having that good red to green, having that good morning panic and popping higher, but they're not holding it. So I'm a little bit skeptical. I go for one more trade here. Actually, I think I chase a little bit because it pops up. I miss it. Look, all my limit orders I miss. And then it actually does end up pulling back. And I'm constantly looking for that move higher, which somehow doesn't seem to happen. So there's a lot of weakness right now in the market, which doesn't really seem to happen. I buy one more on this pullback here near big support. I'm in with $10,000 share size, looking for that rip higher, this is typically a pretty good setup, but it doesn't work. I'm instantly down like 500 on this one. And I'm like, oh man, well, that was a little bit disappointing. I end up forcing this exit just because at this point, this is a failed move and it can get really slippery really quick. So I wanted to close it. Luckily, I only walked away with $337 or $389 loss there. It just goes to show, though, you have to be careful when these red to green moves do not work out. So let's go forward and keep in mind, I just had some pretty traumatic experiences where every red to green move I went for did not work out. So that is without a question an important thing to keep in mind. So here we go, SMX also trying for a red to green move. It opened up right here. It's still red on the day. And right now it's trying to pump to get green on the day. So let's see, and this is a little confusing because it's up 90%, but technically the daily candle is red because it opened up pre-market, extended, and then it actually ended up at the market open selling off. So it's a red candle, but it's still up 90%. So sometimes red to green moves I think are a little confusing to some people because they think, hey, the ticker's up 90%, but the daily candle, the new daily candle is actually red because it opened up high and the price started moving down ever since the market opened. So we're looking for that slight move down, ideally around like 6% or something near big support, and then a pop higher, right? So that's what I'm looking for SMX, good 5-minute breakout. And this trade, good volume here as well. I get a fill. This should be a 10,000 share size, so very, very tiny size, but it gets me back green on SMX, which is a nice little start. This ticker does end up popping higher and higher. It does pull back a bit higher. I don't really buy up here because I think it's extended and this ticker has strong pullbacks. Still not buying it. You can see my limit order a little bit more conservative. And then here I get a fill and I'm looking for that pop over 0.5 into the ideally 0.55 zone. That's my thesis on this trade. So here it pulls back a little bit more. I size in. I'm looking for that move over 0.5. You can see it's struggling here, and I don't like the fact that it struggles so much. Typically, you want pretty quick resolution, something like this where there's a strong pullback and it pops higher. Otherwise, there's a good chance, you might get this pullback, pop higher, and then maybe fizzle off. And maybe, this here it held, but sometimes they really do just disappear. So I'm closing this trade, which for a second I thought maybe that was a bit premature. But because it does pop up a little bit more, but then it actually ends up flushing really nasty. So, that just is several back-to-back trades that all didn't end up working. And I'm thinking to myself, man, like this is a tough day. Right now it's at 9:49 a.m. So 20 minutes or 19 minutes after the market opens. And this is exactly what I wrote in the Discord. Woo, it is tough out there. It felt like a lifetime of trading just now. But at least we're getting really good opportunities. And that's when HOLO popped up and I was like, all right, we're back in play. I like this move. I am a little bit cautious here that there's a big sell-off. You typically always want to look to your left and look, big sell-off here after pop, sell-off there, sell-off here, sell-off there. So, this ticker does like pulling back. It is halted. At the moment, it was a successful red to green move, pulled back, popped higher. Very unorthodox price action, a little bit choppy, but a successful red to green move nonetheless. Here's the halt open after 5 minutes, popped higher. I don't want to buy too high, but I am looking for a continuation to $5 and then $5.50. So here we go. I am starting to size in on this one around, $4.50. There's my first roughly 5K position size. Ideally, a size of roughly 10 or 15,000 would be appropriate. It doesn't hold and rip higher like I thought it was, so I close out, then it pulls back, and actually it ends up flushing on me a little bit, and I missed my second entry. I think this flush is okay because these kind of pullbacks sometimes do happen, and then there's a good recovery. So I'm trying to size in on this one and get that move back over $4, $5, and $5. This trade gets pretty interesting. So here I go, another size, so I'm roughly $10,000 at this point. It is holding quite okay. There is some sell pressure here, but I don't think it's too bad. At this point, I probably could have went in with another size. I was a little bit nervous here because that sell volume was really high, but I probably should have done another 1,000 shares right here. So it pops higher, looking really good. I'm looking for that quick rip higher. So I'm up 300 to 400 right now, but it is struggling a little bit, and I don't like when tickers struggle so much, so I end up closing some share size, but I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's just a micro pullback here, so I ended up re-entering this trade, and lo and behold, it does pop higher again, and I'm looking for that break of 450. I want that break of 450 and then into 5. So we're getting that break. Here I'm up 900. We're getting that nice break. I'm looking for the move to 5 and then 550. I'm thinking, okay, I'm managing my risk well. I have a good entry. There we go. Now we're at $1,000. Now I'm looking for that break over 5 and into 550. And then I would like to start taking some profit. Volume could be a lot more here. And this is actually where I make a mistake. And I often say this, and I want you guys to really focus here. And let me know in the comments below if you have any different opinions. But this is something over the last many years of trading this specific strategy since 2019. If you're already up, I'm up $1,000 on this trade. There's a good chance, especially with this volume, there's going to be a bit of rejection. It goes back to 4 or 5. That means I'm only up $500. You want to take some profits off the table. You can always re-enter, but typically a few base hits is better than looking for that big win, that big home run trade, because they often don't happen. In most times I'm up 5 or 10 even percent and I don't take profits, and then it goes right back down to where I started. So keep that in mind. Look at this. I'm up 1,100, 1,200 almost, and then it starts fading. So I was starting, I'm up even more, 1,250, almost 1,300. So I could have been taking some profits here, but I was looking for that quick boom over 5 and then over 550. But here it just had like 3 attempts. They all stalled. And at this point I'm like, okay, this failed. And I should have been more aggressive trying to get out here, because it pulls back quite a bit. And at this point I just fully, more or less, closed the position. And what I could have done is I could have fully closed here, and then I could have rebought, right? That's the point. Close here, rebuy. So now it's, oh my God, look at this. Now it actually ended up going to $5 like I wanted. And now I have FOMO because I closed. This could have been a $2,000 trade if I just closed and rebought, maybe even a $3,000 trade. And now I'm buying high, I'm chasing. I'm no longer in the driver's seat. And now I'm only up $700, even though the price did exactly what I wanted. And at this point, I'm really just like, oh man, I really messed this one up. And now I'm actually even thinking, oh, there's a good chance it might flush down. So I ended up totally stopping out on this one for $750 profit, even though I was up $1,200 somewhere in this area. And I am just licking my wounds right now, because this could have been one of the best trades of the week for me if I just took my base hit and re-entered. And even if I didn't re-enter, I still would have been up $1,200, right? That's almost 2 times more than I was up. So I just want to really hone in that fact. Take your base hits, because it pays off. 2-3 base hits is already more than a home run oftentimes. Look at this. I'm only up $600 because now I even had FOMO and I chased, and I'm pretty disappointed in myself. So let's fast forward to where HOLO gives us another opportunity. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, there is a good chance it's going to go back to the 5-minute. So I'm looking for maybe a push to the 5-minute, but actually there's constantly buyers here. So I think to myself, okay, well, maybe we just had to flush out some people and now we're going to break to 5.5. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm going for here. I didn't get my fill yet, so I'm kind of fumbling around here a little bit. Eventually I do get my fill. I want probably around 2,000 shares here though. So I'm trying a little bit harder. I get my 2,000 shares. I'm looking for that breakout. I'm up 300. Looking for the breakout. Volume could be a lot more, but sometimes these moves go really quick. And here we go. Again, it's stalling. It's stalling. It should not be stalling like this. It should be ripping quickly. So again, what am I not doing? I'm not taking my profits. So shame on me for that. And look, right back to where I started. Up. Now I'm right on the trade. I'm even trying to average down. Just total sloppiness. I do eventually average down, pops higher again, and I close. It flushes on me. So again, what did I not do? I didn't take my base hit. I did not take my base hit. Oh, it's so frustrating watching this, but I think it's a great review. Look at this. I'm down 300 on a ticker that I should be up to $3,000 on, but just by taking my base hits, not even if anything worked out. No trade actually would have had to work out in terms of that final move over 550 or whatever I wanted, right? And I'm just reeling here, and it's definitely kind of stressful watching this. So I do a little bit of dip trading, and now I'm just kind of scalping, but yeah, it's a little frustrating. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, we have a bit of a trend line here. We had that pullback, and now there's that potential for that move back to 550. So let's go ahead and see it. I do kind of overmanage my position here a little bit, because at this point I'm thinking, man, I should take some base hits. Look, I'm back at $1,000. I need to take some base hits. So that is kind of what I'm doing. I think I'm doing a good job here. I bought this pullback, not nearly at the size I should be doing. I'm at $10,000, but I could probably be punching $15,000 or $20,000. So here we go. We're popping higher. And at this point, I actually do finally make a good decision. I take some profits off, looking for that next move to take some profits. And we actually do get this punch. Now, I do make a small mistake here by not actually putting my sell limit orders ahead of time. So it pops up, but I don't fully get executed. I should have had this whole share ready to go, and I was up 1,500, and then it actually ends up flushing. So you got to be quick with your exits. So I ended up selling at a pretty bad spot, but that's fine. It was luckily only a little bit of a leftover order. What I did overall really well in that trade was the fact that I just took my base hit. And that's what, if I just took, think about how many times I was up $1,000 or more, even $1,500. Originally here on this move, again here on this move, and then on this move. Each one could have been its own little base hit, and I could have made $1,000 on each one. It would have put me up over 3,000 on HOLO alone. So just keep that in mind. That's really what I want to hone in today on this video, because that was my big mistake. The red to green move in the beginning was a lot of failed moves, and I should have been a little bit more aggressive looking for those pops higher, but I still could have taken my base hits. I was always late to the party and not taking my profits off the table, and that's really what cost me so much today. Check out what HOLO is up to right now. I'm not gonna lie, it gave me a little bit of FOMO. We had this long consolidation period where basically volume fell off the cliff, so I didn't think it was gonna still pop. It did pop up higher here, and this whole time I thought it was gonna flush down because not one pop really held that well. And wow, I mean, you got to give it to it. It did a pretty good job today. And look, it just had a bit of a shakeout to the downside. This might even break over 8. So I don't know, maybe I should be trading this, but I think at this point I'm thinking too much about my P&L, and I'm a little bit done trading for the day. And when you're starting to think about your P&L only, it's really bad, because then you have FOMO on a move like this. So you buy high, you're down all of a sudden $300. You close out because you're like, no, I don't want to give back profits. It pops higher, and then you're in this FOMO revenge trading state, and you're already not focused. So I don't mind that I called it a little bit earlier today. The daily on HOLO is actually quite crazy. We do have a lot of upside potential. And check out this volume today. It is mind-blowing. But if you scroll back a little bit further, we have a huge candle here. So you're thinking to yourself, what's going on? Well, there's a lot of dilution on HOLO. So I would be careful for continuation, because fundamentally this ticker is diluting its stock price. And typically that means the stock price is just going to keep going down, down, and down, and down, because there's more shares available at the same price. So that's not a good thing. At the end of the day, I am ending it at $906 profit. GLT, that was my bigger mistake. Being down 400 on GLT really isn't that big of a deal. As you can see, who cares about $400 when you could be making $3,000 on HOLO? So I had the right idea pivoting to HOLO, but man, did I trade this one poorly today. All I had to do was take those base hits and then re-enter if it still was holding. But I gotta say, even though I traded really poorly today, I'm up $900, so that's a really nice thing. Eventually, I'm gonna trade okay on an okay day, and that's gonna get me to $3,000 to $5,000 profit. That's what it's all about. Just learning from your mistakes and improving next time and getting a little bit better every day. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and dropping that like. I'll see you next time.